My name is Bill Ciaccio. I am the Senior Director at MTA New York City Transit, Metropolitan Transportation Authority. The MTA comprises of an organization that runs transit facilities and transit operations in 17 counties in New York State and 2 counties in Connecticut. We average about 8 million riders a day in terms of transportation. We move about 1.7 billion a year. So we're the largest public transportation agency in the Western Hemisphere. Some of my family members have been in government service. I always liked transportation. I've lived in New York City my whole life, and I was interested in it. So I went for a master's in public administration from Columbia University, and I started working for the MTA when I graduated. I'm still working there ever since. I was interested in public service because you could actually have an impact on people. Some of my many friends went to private sector, made more money, but didn't really have any impact. The one great thing about transportation, also the MTA, is when you get in there, when you start here, and you can actually have an impact on people. Some things I do, you can actually say, hey, ridership benefited from it. People appreciate it, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment, which is something you really don't have in private sector. Maybe you make a little bit more money, but you don't have the sense of accomplishment that you do in public sector. And transportation is the lifeblood of the New York metropolitan area. For instance, when we had blackouts or Hurricane Sandy's, well, we didn't run, and when our system doesn't run, New York City doesn't run, which means the economy of the whole region is really at a standstill. Part of my responsibility is basically capital program management. What we do is we basically do all the construction for the system. We do improvements for the system, new infrastructure, car shops, bus depots, and we've actually helped a lot of neighborhoods, including some of the neighborhoods I personally live in, and I know people in there. So, I'm involved in community groups, and part of what gives me sort of a kick is saying, hey folks, we improve service, we improve bus lines, we improve transit. And of course, I'm not going to necessarily say I was involved in it, but I'll just say the MTA was. But it gives me a kick in terms of, actually, I did something. I accomplished something. I made things better for people. And not necessarily individuals, but if you look at individuals, people I deal with in my various community groups, and political organizations, public administration sector. So they're all comprised of a lot of people in the groups. So yeah, a lot of people, a lot of groups. That's kind of what gives me a kick. In New York City, people go to work various modes of transportation, rail trains, buses, subways. Average commute is probably over an hour a day. You have people literally who take 3.5 hours each way to get to work. They live in parts of New Jersey, southern New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I'll give an example. One of the people who work in my division, he lives in southern New Jersey. He commutes to Lower Manhattan. That's where we have our office. It's about 3 hours a day each way. And I spoke to him, I said, Richard, why do you put up with such a commute? Because 6 hours a day is a long, long time. He's got a wife, got a family, got kids. And part of what he said is that it's really good for the kids. It makes them able to live in the country. He has said his commute has improved over the last decade or so. It's cut it down by maybe about a half an hour each way. And for somebody like him, an hour a day actually makes a big difference. More time with the family. It's people who live in Manhattan. Well, it's kind of expensive to live in Manhattan. A lot of times people can't afford it. So they have to commute, they have to travel. A lot of offices are still located in Manhattan. And it's very important to cut their commuting time. It's very important not only to cut their time, make sure it actually works, the system. Trains are not delayed, buses are not delayed, railroads are not delayed. We do a pretty good job of that. We still can improve. Sometimes things happen, but in general, we're safe and a reliable source of transportation for people in the region. And I think people appreciate it. I look at everything I do as a juggling act in many ways. I juggle things at work, make sure the balls don't fall down. I juggle professional groups, organizations, to make sure things keep running. I kind of like juggling things. I kind of like the thrill of it. And I'm pretty good at it. And so far, I really haven't made any balls fall on the ground. And hopefully, I'll continue doing it for a little while longer. Public service is at a period right now where there's a lot of opportunities for younger people. The federal workforce, for instance, the average age is late 50s, and I believe over half the people can retire in the next 2-3 years. Most of the agencies in state and local government haven't been able to hire people over the last decade or two because of financial constraints. So you have a much older workforce. You have a workforce that is going to basically retire in the next few years. It gives a lot of opportunities for younger students and professionals to get into the various agencies and actually make an impact. People who come in now have enough time to sort of be mentored by the older folks who are still there, but also will not have to worry about potentially being blocked by advancement, because there's going to be a lot of opportunities. And it's a great field, it's an interesting field. We actually have some money now, which we didn't have before, and I really would highly recommend the public sector because it gives people a chance to actually make an impact on their communities, on their neighbors, on their friends. They may make a little bit more money in private sector, but maybe not quite as much as they used to in the past. But still, you actually have a sense of accomplishment. And at the end of the day, when you're ready to retire and you're end of your career, it's a much better thought process to say, hey, I did this, I helped this, I did a lot for people, rather than, yeah, okay, I made some money, but that's nice, but it doesn't really give you the sense of accomplishment. So that's why I would highly recommend people to go into public sector.